everyone, and welcome back to the Brightsiders. I hope that you're all keeping well and staying safe. Now, I've got something really exciting to tell you guys. We have got a competition for you and your family to win a chance to win a family ticket to Northumberland Zoo worth up to £50. Now, we have sent you all 5 challenges so far based on what we have learned from Northumberland Zoo. All you have to do is just keep sending in your challenges, and the more challenges you send in, the more chance that we will put your names into the draw and the more likely you will win the competition. Now so far, we have had some fantastic submissions from previous challenges set so far. We've had Ollie, Kira and Alfie who made some incredible armour, well done to you guys. We've had some parrot-inspired art from years 1 and 2 from Choppington Primary School, fantastic work guys. We've had an interesting creation from Keith Newman who is what, aged 5 to 7? No, aged 57. To think, age never matters, does it guys? And we finally had Matthew Miller who is age 7 who drew us a fantastic parrot. Well done guys, please keep these submissions coming in, we really want to see your fantastic work guys. So, I've been to Woodhorn Museum where I met Georgina who is one of the curators there. And she took me on a fantastic tour of the museum and I learned so many interesting and exciting facts about the place. Hello Brightsiders, welcome! I'm here at Woodhorn Museum. I've had a fantastic day just having a little explore of everything that's been going around in the mines, everything. We'll get onto that later on, but for now I'd like to introduce you all to Georgina. Hi Georgina, you alright?
Hi, Chloe.
Good. So, we're here in Coal Town, is it? Why is it called Coal Town exactly?
So I'm a curator here at Woodhorn Museum, and this gallery is called Coal Town because it's about Ashington, the local town that's right next door to Woodhorn. It's called Coal Town because Ashington was the largest pit village in the world.
Really? As in the entire world, like the planet?
I don't think so, yeah.
That's amazing. So it's amazing because Ashington's only a small town and it's got the largest coal pit in the world. That's amazing. So I'm just here in the living room where the miners would live in back in the day. Is that right?
Yeah, so we opened the gallery at around 1914, just before the start of the First World War.
Right.
And at that time, young boys, or young men I suppose at the time, in this area of the world would often be expected to get a job around about the age of 13, 14, or start an apprenticeship on how to start working in the mines. And so they would often start their day in the middle of the night and would have to be woken up by their mums or their sisters and go down with their older brothers or fathers for their first day.
13 or 14, the start, that is unbelievable. I mean, like a lot of our audience members are like just under 13, so some of them, if they were living in 1914, could wake up on their 13th birthday and then realise they're going to be a miner. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time they went to training school before they went down its proper, but they would have started that at 14.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Everybody out! Oh, wait, man, push the gate open. What are you doing? Out!
Make room, Jimmy. We've got guests this shift. Room for only 8 men, and we're already like sardines. Aye, I said. Stinking. I hope it's not too smacky for you. Bit of a fry-up from last meeting, Tommy. Come on. I'm here, let's go before you get thinking here.
Shit, Jimmy, we're not running this just for you, yeah?
So, there's a new face here. What, Johnny?
You got a joke in there? Oh, yes. Yourself, Paris. The body of Jim here.
So was this sort of like say a 24-hour pattern within the mines?
Yeah, so the mine never stopped once it got going because it was too expensive to turn off, which meant that men had to work in the pits for 24 hours a day doing different shifts.
Okay, so what have I got here then? I have got the sinker's hat. So can you explain this funny hat for the children, please?
Yeah, so this is a hat that would be typically worn in the 19th century by a man who worked as a sinker. And a sinker was really important, and they were highly trained and qualified and knowledgeable and experienced in being able to dig pit shafts underground. They were the first ones underground. It was one of the most dangerous jobs that you could do because they were the ones setting up all of the supports in order for other men to go down to dig out the coal.
Mad. Okay, I'm going to just try it on now. There we go. How do I look?
Very fetching.
And I've got here a safety lamp, so they used to take these down into the mines, didn't they?
Yeah, so a little bit later on, something called the safety lamp was invented in order to give illumination in the mine because it was very, very dark.
Yeah.
But then later it reached its real purpose, which was to be able to test for some of the poisonous and dangerous gases in the mine, which had previously caused hundreds and hundreds of deaths.
Wow. Well, at least I've managed to invent that to provide any more of those deaths. So I'm going to go and have a go under the mines and imagine what it was like to actually be in the mines. Okay, here we go.
Get right down. Sometimes you were working under 2 foot.
What about like this?
Yeah, you'd be crawling
Wow.
literally on your belly at some point.
On my belly?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now, under here, there's... Ooh, that's just fallen off. So under here, there's just carpet. But in the mines, just imagine all the gravel, all like steel, all the works, everything. Just being under here, this would be so uncomfortable. Now, I'm going to give it a try.
Very wet.
Be very wet as well.
And lots of rats down there, so...
Oh, there's no rats
on
down
your
here this day.
hands.
There's no rats this day down here.
I can't promise anything.
Oh no! Right, okay, I'm gonna be brave. Here we go. I've only just crawled to think about 10-15 metres under here, and I'm already exhausted. But like I said before, it's just carpet. I can't imagine going 100 odd metres underground like this. And there we are. Whew.
What's this?
Look at that. The day gently made. I was found the wall of the shop and down. Yeah, right end of that squid for us. That's right. Okay. We're ready. Let's clear our tools with you.
Ready?
Right, come on. Shift yourself. Come on. There it goes. 3, 2, 1.
So, I've just crawled out the mines. I'm still catching my breath, but I feels good to actually be standing up again. So, where are we right now? And who's this chap here sticking his bum out for the camera?
Well, we're now at the miners' vats, the pit head vats, that were built at Woodhorn Colliery in the 1920s as a welfare facility, so that miners could wash themselves before going home at the end of their shift and get rid of all their kind of dirty clothes, because they would have been black from head to toe.
Really? Oh, couldn't imagine coming home to all that. Like, I've just read this funny quote here actually. Guess why miners kept their backs black? Now I've just tried to have a guess and I have no idea. Why is that exactly?
So some miners felt it was good luck to keep the soot ingrained on their backs, so they wouldn't let anybody wash their backs in case they became too clean and then something mysterious might happen to them, or they might get into an accident. It was superstition.
Superstition. That is a weird superstition, that, isn't it? I can imagine a lot of miners' wives not being very happy with their husbands still coming home with dirty blacks.
Yes, absolutely.
Georgina, can you tell us where we are now then?
So now in the gallery, we're in typical miners' home dating from around the 1920s and 1930s, where women, wives, mothers, sisters were a lot of the time expected to run the household while the men worked down the pit.
Right.
That involved a lot of hard labour in and of itself, not least because of the amount of washing that was required.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
So every week you would have had to get out your washing machine.
That's a washing machine?
It is. It's called a POS tub, and this is called a POS stick.
Right.
You would have put your water and your laundry in here along with your soap flakes, and you would have had to bash and scrape around the washing in the water to get it clean. Once it was clean, it would have been fully saturated, and you would have had to put it through your tumble dryer, which is also a mangle.
Wait, this is a tumble dryer?
Yeah, not so efficient, but it would help squeeze out the water in order to be able to hang up the washing on the line, outside in the back lanes.
Wow, that's amazing. So a washing machine, a tumble dryer. So just have a go at this quickly. So how long would it take roughly to like get their clothes dry? Doing this, or at least get all the water off their clothes?
Several hours.
Hours.
Depending on how much washing you had to put through the mangle.
Oh, I can imagine a weekend job being just constant hours of spinning and spinning.
It tended to be the same day, the washing day every week, so everybody hung out the washing on the same day.
Wow, and I can just see the clothes just above your head there as well. A couple of tops in that. And what's in that for?
So another feature of mining housing, and from housing all across the northeastern UK during this time, was having outdoor plumbing. You did not have a bathroom in your house. You had to get washed in a tin bath, which is an example of which is hanging up there.
Oh, lovely.
So you had to fill that bath with hot water from the kettle that was boiled on the range.
Wow.
And then if you wanted to use the toilet, you would have to go outside into the net.
Oh, you know what? I would really feel bad for anyone having to go outside in the rain just to go have a wee or a poo.
And you didn't have toilet roll like we do now. We would have used newspaper.
Newspaper?
Newspaper.
Oh.
The same stuff you used to have your fish and chips in.
Really? That does sound disgusting, I'm not gonna lie. So, what can you tell us about the sort of kitchen goods of the house then, to do with the miners and the wives and the children and all that?
So the kitchen is always the heart of the home, and for women who were married or living with miners, they were expected to run the household and keep the menfolk fed and watered, clean and dry for as much of a 24-hour period as possible. So starting off in the morning, women would set up the fires most likely in order to warm the house up. They would prepare all of the food for the men to go down to work with. A lot of everything that you wanted to eat on your shift down the pit, you had to take with you.
Right.
So this would have been a typical lunch box.
Okay.
It's also known as a bait tin, and it would have fitted in probably some sandwiches for you to take down for your 12-hour shift.
Alright, okay, so a couple of sandwiches and some water in this thing here. What is it here?
It's like a tin canister.
Yeah.
Sometimes it came with like a water bottle flask or something like that, but you'd hang it off your hip. Basically, these items were made of metal so that the rats couldn't shoot through them and get to it.
Oh, right, well, I mean, the rats must have had a lot of friendly experiences with the miners down there, wouldn't they?
Yes, indeed, indeed. And also something to mention is the fact that there were no toilets underground, so you might want to think about how much you're drinking.
I see, so can I ask, where exactly did they go in the toilets? Did they just used to go in toilets down in the mines, or did they have to go up a little bit to...
Once you went down, you did not come back up until it was the end of your shift.
Unbelievable. That's just unbelievable, that. as we were speaking about food earlier, this is the one of the picnic areas that the miners would used to sit on. Is that right?
That's right. So every year, the miners across Northumberland had a picnic, which became known as the Miners' Picnic.
Yeah.
An annual event which happened in early June and still happens today. It's been going on for about 150 years, more or less.
Wow.
And most of the picnics in recent times have taken place at Bedlington, which you can see in the picture behind us.
Yeah, I noticed that. So this is in Atley Park, am I right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So the stand, that's still there, isn't it? Just right in the middle where the crowd is.
Yes, so that's where the political speeches would have taken place, because not only was it a day of leisure and enjoyment and for local pride, but it was also about a rallying cry and had a lot to do with the trade union movement in the 20th century.
Alright, so what would they often talk about in their speeches? Just about the trade union, about is it something to do with pay, is it something to do with the government, or...?
It would have been a mixture of all of those things.
Right. And would they have any bands play now, or is it just mainly just for political speeches?
Well, most of the time they would have had brass bands performing on the day, before they got to this picnic area. So along the High Street in Bedlington there would have been band performances and processions, followed by processions of the colliery banners and processions of other political movements such as the women's labour movement.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. I mean, you know, it's amazing just seeing Atley Park as it was back in the day and how it's still going on, you know, after 150 years. I mean, that's just incredible what, you know, these miners have sort of created, you know, not just for them but for their families as well. That's
right, and of course it wasn't all about the politics, it was also lots of fun and enjoyment to be had on the day. People would have brought their picnics down to Atley Park to relax and to enjoy the rest of the festivities.
Oh, that's amazing.
I come into when the miners in achieve nationalisation.
Ladies and gentlemen, owing to the present state of the theatrical profession, I have with great reluctance been forced to accept a job as a supporting actor to a lady doing a commercial for AIDS.
So, Georgina, this is what the miners will come to after work or just to sort of chill out. This is a social club, am I right?
That's right, yeah. There was hundreds in Ashington in their heyday. Not so much nowadays, but you would have expected to see all of your friends and colleagues down here as well. Sometimes some of the women folk, most of the time women were excluded from these spaces.
Oh, what a shame. So we've got the classic Newcastle kit, haven't we? And I believe some familiar faces as well.
That's right. In our area of the country, in the southeast Northumberland, there were a lot of very famous football players that came out of mining villages, not least of all Jackie Milburn. Some of his items are on display here.
Wow. A hero to a lot of Newcastle fans, definitely. So we've got a photo from South Africa tour in 1952 and the Newcastle United Football Club from 1951 to 1952. It's amazing how, you know, they managed to keep the colour and just the constant change they made to the kits as well. You can imagine a lot of Newcastle fans must have come to the pubs down, especially around Ashington area, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Derby Day must have been a great time, wouldn't it?
After this evasion.
Oh, yeah, let me get on with breakfast. I'm ready to count it. You know it,
So Georgina, can you tell us whereabouts we are now then?
Well, we're in about 1984, just before a major disruption in the lives of so many people living across the country, but especially those who were involved in the mining industry. From 1984 to 1985, there was something called the miners' strike, where all the workers in collieries up and down the UK went on strike and stopped working for almost a whole 12 months.
Right.
In order to bring changes and to protest the closure of the pits.
Right, so it was Margaret Thatcher who was Prime Minister at the time who decided to close the mines, am I right?
Sort of. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but
right.
That's ultimately one of the issues was the policies of Margaret Thatcher at the time.
Right. So what was sort of the main reasons as to why the mines were being closed then?
They were seen as uneconomical.
Right. Okay. What do you mean by non-economical exactly?
That they were not, because all the mines were nationalised at the time.
Yeah.
And owned by the government, they were seen as not being productive enough in terms of finances in order to justify them being open.
Right, so it was a really bleak time for the miners, wasn't it? Just not a great time for anyone anyway.
That's right, and really hard for the children of mining families.
Yeah.
If you were out on strike, you didn't get welfare payments, you obviously weren't bringing in a wage into the home. So children suffered, they weren't able to get the food that they would usually get, clothing became harder to afford, and whole areas became very, very deprived.
That's unbelievable. So did a lot of miners work separate jobs, or did they get any sort of strike funds, or was that not in existence?
Yeah, so some, I don't know if they would have necessarily been able to take other jobs, but if they were part of their local union, they would be able to access a strike fund, and there were a number of fundraising efforts across the country and indeed across Europe in order to raise funds in support of the miners and the miners' strike from far away as Russia and Bulgaria, and they sent food and money supplies.
Yeah.
Some families were allowed to go on holiday to these places.
Oh, right.
Break.
Mad. So in 1985, did the mines reopen, or what sort of happened after the strikes?
The miners returned to work and the pits continued to close.
Oh, right. So at least some of them went back to work, but others didn't. But it's still a shame for a lot of miners, unfortunately, isn't it? So Brightsiders, we're at the final part of our tour across Woodhorn Museum. So Georgina, can you tell us where we are right now?
So here we are in a typical 1980s living room. We've got a TV set here. We've got the typical sort of fireplace and a typical sofa.
Yeah, so where's the remote for the telly?
Sadly, you'll have to get up off your backside to turn it on. There's no such thing as a remote at this time.
I don't think even my dad would be very happy to do something like that. I mean, just switching it on, coming back up to turn the volume, and then coming back on to change the channel. I mean, that must have been an absolute pain for some people, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you would have only had a very limited number of channels, about 3 at this time.
Only 3
You'd
channels?
have to tune the telly in. In order to get the picture. There was certainly no streaming services.
Oh no, so literally they had to be on the ball. Let's say 6 o'clock the news would have started, wouldn't it? And then say, I don't know, at 7 o'clock there would have been a show on that they wanted to catch, so they wouldn't be able to record it or download it. They would literally have to be sat on the sofa at 7 o'clock on the dot to catch the channel.
Yeah, I mean, about this time, some VCR recorders were about making it into the domestic market, but not many people had them.
Oh, is it because they were more expensive, or was it because... Wow, okay, so how much would a television cost within those days, would you know? 'Cause...
Well, a lot of times TVs were bought on credit, so with higher purchases.
Alright, okay, so credit, would that mean different sort of prices, is that what you mean, or just...
It means that you didn't buy the telly outright, is that you made payments to the shop that you bought it from over a series of months and years in order to pay off what was owed.
Right, okay, that makes sense. So kind of a monthly pay, like, you know, say you're paying your bills or something.
Exactly, like renting your telly.
Alright, fair enough. Well, that's the end of the tour, guys. Massive thank you, Georgine. You've been absolutely incredible, and to be honest, this is probably my favourite part of our adventures so far, Brightsiders. So thank you again, Georgine. It's been absolutely amazing.
Thank you for coming.
Not a problem. Wow, how amazing was all that, guys? I can't wait to share all this information with Prof. In fact, I'm going to give him a call right now. Right. Prof, here we go.
Hello, Prof.
Oh, hiya, Sonny. I'm having a few technical issues here today. I'm having to wear my 3D glasses just to see things straight. It's all a bit freaky, to be fair, but never mind. How do you like the beard?
Oh, I love the beard, but we'll talk about the beard later because I've got some really exciting information for you, Prof. I've been to Woodhorn Museum.
Oh, it's fab there. I love
Oh, it is. There. Like, yes. I've learned so many things about it. I learned that kids at the age of 13 would start working down in the mines. I had no idea that was a thing. I've learned that Ashington mine was the biggest mine in the world, and I had no idea how big it was. And that there was a massive picnic event down there. What was it? Atley Park?
Yes.
And I've only been down to Atley Park not long ago, down in Bedlington, and it's amazing. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, you see, once the miners got their act together and formed a union, things got a bit better for them because they had a bit more power. And once a year they'd have this great big get together, and all the mines would be shut for the day. In fact, most of the towns and villages were shut for the day.
Oh,
and
wow.
They'd jump on, before they had buses, they had things called charabancs. And the charabang would take the people over to the miners' picnic. And
wow.
There'd be a huge parade. They'd parade down the main street. All the collieries had their bands, and they had banners as well. Each colliery had its own banner, and they'd love to display all this. You can imagine all the colour and the fanciness going down the main street in Bedlam.
Yeah, I can just imagine it looking absolutely incredible and just colourful and fun and just really exciting atmosphere.
Yes, and I bet there was loads of people selling food as well. And
definitely.
There'll have been a bit of pop on sale as well. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And maybe baked potatoes. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not that old yet.
Well, Prof, do you have any challenges you would like to set for everybody?
Well, since we're talking about Woodhorn, I have been there before, and I've got a little bit of video of the miners' banners.
Okay.
So we'll have a quick look at that.
Yeah. Oh wow, those banners are amazing. Look at that.
They can be anything. That's
okay.
That's the beauty of it. They used to have the name of the mine or the pit. So why don't we have our young people create their own banner?
That sounds like a really good challenge. So what can the banner be made of?
Well, I think something like an A4 piece of paper would be big enough, wouldn't it? We don't want them going to, because those banners are about 6 foot by 6 foot, or nearly 2 meters by 2 meters.
Yeah, they're huge, aren't they?
In new currency, so they're quite the size. You don't really want to be good. You'd be pinching things off your bed, probably. You'd be having to use the odd blanket or something like that, wouldn't you? We don't want to go that far.
No, we don't do it. I think an A4 piece of paper will be absolutely fine to use, definitely.
I think that would work. Now, they did have a little bit of format to them, because they would tend to have the name of the pit across the top.
Okay.
So why don't we have our young people just use their surname or something like that?
That sounds good.
That would work, wouldn't it? What they could do. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Are you all right? Are you okay?
That was a special delivery, wasn't it? Yes. Meanwhile. Yes. So if they could have their surname going across the top, that would be good. And choose a nice colour for that. And then the banner would tend to have a main sort of background colour.
Okay.
And it would have something exciting in the middle. Now, the bit in the middle could be a picture of somewhere they like their street, or it could be the face of a person they like Captain Sir Tom, who's just sadly passed away. That would be quite a nice banner, wouldn't it?
I think that one would be a really lovely one.
That would be really good. There's loads of, one of their heroes or something like that. Sometimes the banners were just words, and there would be positive words like strength to the miners, or power to the people, or something like that.
Yeah, like positive words like happiness.
Yes, positive words, happiness and joy and things like that.
Yes.
And then, so that can be the middle part of it. They've got their name or whatever, and then they've got something in the middle, they've got a bit of colour, and then underneath they could put a nice little sentence as well if they want. I don't mind. They could draw flowers on there if they wanted to. That would be quite nice too.
Yeah, well, that sounds all really good, Prof. Well, thank you very much for setting that challenge for us. It's always great sharing everything with you, Prof.
It's always lovely to see you, Sonny. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So I will see you very soon, Prof. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Take care.
You too. Bye, Prof.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much indeed, Prof. So guys, we've got Prof who set us the challenge of creating the banners. I want you guys to create a miner's lantern. It's very, very simple. So step one, there's a sheet available like this on the Leading Link website with some instructions on where to cut them with the little scissor symbols. So it should look something like this. Then step two, either get a bit of tissue paper that's colourful, or you can even just get a coloured piece of paper that you can colour in yourself. Literally just get it like this and just wrap it round and then stick them together. Now obviously this is a bit floppy, so you can literally just stick it onto a cereal box like this, for example. Or if you can't get access to that sheet of paper on the Leading Link website, you can just do what I've done. Get a nice piece of paper, it could be a colourful one, or it can just be a white one that you can just colour in yourself. Cut out some rectangles, fold it over, and you've got something like this, for example. And then you can literally just get a circle bit of paper and draw yourself a little handle, stick it on the top, and voila, you have got yourself a nice little miner's lantern. So guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for streaming in. Don't forget to keep bringing in all of your challenges, because obviously you've got the competition to win the ticket. So until then guys, I will see you very, very soon. Bye everyone!